It's been over 3 months since we played for points in the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship. Since then, the drivers have had the experience of the high-tech oils, about the 6 hour. Now, back to reality, back to sprint racing, and back to playing for championship points. Sydney Motorsport Park, the venue for round 2 of the V8 Superlaps New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship. Sunday weather, fine and sunny. Stark contrast to Saturday, which you'll see when we bring you highlights of race 1 in just a moment. Hello everyone, I'm Zach Caban. Welcome to Production Touring TV's coverage of the second round of the V8 Superlaps New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship from Sydney Motorsport Park. Here are the results of qualifying coming up on your screen now. And I can tell you that it's no surprise to learn that 2 starts, 2 pole positions for Daniel Oosthuizen. He absolutely smashed them in the qualifying session, 1.4 seconds faster than Clay Skinner. Evos went 1, 2, 3, 4 in a very wet session. Matthew Holt was 5th ahead of the next Evo of Jacques Oosthuizen. Daniel Byron had a sensational run in 8th spot, exceeding his own personal expectations, and he was delighted when it started raining on Saturday morning. Bathurst 6-hour class winners, Tony Virag and Chris Reeves, were 14th and 20th respectively. Reeves, of course, the defending champion. Jim Pollicino there in 22nd spot, a little bit disappointed with his run, and the weather conditions in the car not gelling all that well on Saturday morning. He was in the 2-minute 27s. We go over the page again. They just keep on rolling here. Finley Hill's in 33rd spot, the debutant. So too Sam Silvestro in 34th there. Kelly Simpson behind them. And Kevin Herban not qualifying. He's had mechanical problems all weekend. On board with Peter Lone. Let's bring you some highlights of race 1 here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Racing now. And one brilliant off the line, up on the inside of 4 of them, including Josh Muggleton. Look at the flock of Evos from CXC ahead of him. Chris Reeves, the defending champion, said to me earlier that he needs to make his move in the first couple of laps because that's when all the action's going to happen. That's where all the positions are going to be made before the faster cars start coming through. Trevor Simmons, Jeff Kite, now we're on board with him as they make their way up towards turn 2. Here's David Bailey on the outside of Kyle Orban now. That Renault Megane that ran so beautifully at Bathurst. Another 86 just in front of Bailey there. Here's Peter Lone. Back on board with him. Oh, spinner in front of him. Daniel Byron's gone round. There's a brilliant shot of it from Josh Muggleton, who just gets round it. Paul Loiacano's caught up in that as well, and cars are going everywhere trying to get through that and avoid contact with the cars that are stranded there, and those 2 will be right at the back of the field. Clay Skinner, Jeff Kite, safely through there. Everyone did want to avoid the damage, or avoid creating damage and carnage there as they make their way through. A little bit of a moment there for Blake Orban. Now down to turn 5. Pollicino, oh, contact, Pollicino and Muggleton. Muggleton into the side of Pollicino there. He had the inside line. Whether he had the right to be there, well, that's another story for another day. Unusual amount of contact in the opening lap of a Pro Touring race. It has been 3 months since they played for championship points, as we mentioned in the opener. And it has been 2 months since the 6 hours, so they're all probably chomping at the bit. And the wet weather probably isn't helping things either, making it just that little bit more difficult to pull the car up. And everyone's trying to find their markers and test their limits in this wet weather. We're on board with Daniel Oosthuizen, a man that just has everything set perfectly at the moment. He was terrific at Wakefield Park in the opening round. 3 of the 4 wins went his way. And now, as you see, Jacques Oosthuizen fly up on the inside of Clay Skinner. We can tell you that Oosthuizen's just bolted. He's out to a huge lead after lap 1. No real surprise. That young man with CXC Global Racing, everything's just clicking perfectly for them at the moment. Back on board with Jeff Kite now. I want to go back to Clay Skinner for a moment as we continue to watch a lot of our onboard. How many drivers are carrying onboard shots? It's terrific for us this weekend. Chris Reeves there. He's got Simmons up on his outside, and another Mitsubishi Evo not too far up in front of him as the rest of the field make their way through Jeff Kite. Now Chris Reeves through turn 2. I was talking a few moments ago about Clay Skinner. Hasn't raced in the series since 2014. Has had some time off. His partner's given birth to a child, and they've been focusing on that. That's great to see, but he's then decided, no, it's time to go back racing, and he'll be back with us here this weekend and running very, very nicely. He had a terrific run in qualifying. Here's Chris Reeves again. They're having a terrific battle with, I think it's Simmons just in front of him there. Now, let's have a look at this. David Bailey. And up on his outside is the 43, the Class C entry, if you don't mind, of Adam Gosling, the Mazda. Sorry, the BMW, I should say. As Chris Reeves now just gets swamped on the main straight. And that is no real surprise, I must admit. The straight line speed of the 86, not up there with the Holdens and the Mitsubishis, but he has what a lot of people don't, and that is consistency. And that Toyota 86 is a fine piece of machinery that just goes like clockwork for him. Now, this is a good little battle here. Clay Skinner fighting with the used thousands. And also Andrews and Thomas, the CXC Global Racing entries. Now, we've lost Dylan Thomas, I should point out. Thomas, of course, running a huge operation for CXC Global Racing this weekend. 4 cars in this field. Only 3 of them on track at the moment. As Thomas ran into mechanical failure on the opening lap, or mechanical drama, I should say, on the opening lap, and was forced to park at turn number 8 at the old hairpin. As Daniel Listausen continues to lead this motor race. Back on board with him now. You can see clear track in front of him. No one in sight for the man that has won 3 of the 4 races so far that have counted for championship points and is looking good for his 4th race win. Clay Skinner on board with him now. That is Jacques Towson just in front of him. David Bailey now. Oh, Bailey's had a spin. Oh dear, David Bailey. Now he's going to do well to get it out of there. Brilliant car control from David Bailey to get it stopped. Not running back into the line of traffic. The cars have managed to go around him and avoid him, and he's managed to resume rather quickly. He's lost a few spots, but at least he is still in the motor race. That is good to see. Nice onboard shot there from David Bailey. You're with him live as it happened. As we go back now to Clay Skinner. Up on the inside now of Jacob Andrews. There's contact there. Andrews forced a little bit wide. Skinner continuing. He's charged through the field, and Jacques Towson's the next in line. Greg Symes just ahead of him, the yellow car there. We go on board with Paul Lane now. Up on his inside, there's a good battle developing here between he and Simmons. It's Peter Lone, my apologies, in the 70. There's Nigel Williams up there on his inside. I think that was Trevor Simmons that we were driving with a few moments ago, or we were following a few moments ago. Very confusing to pick up the many different cars and numbers here at the moment. We are just taking onboard shots for this opening race. So bear with us as we just gauge who's where and different track position and whatnot as they make their way through and on to the side chute that takes them up to the 6th corner of the circuit, and they'll begin the run up to corporate. Jeff Kite now, we've gone on board with him. Joe Krinolos is just there in front of him, and now we're back with Clay Skinner as he follows Jacques Towson through turn 5. Jeff Kite down the main straight now. Peter Lone absolutely swamped by Joe Krinolos, and Krinolos goes into that position, takes it off Lone there. And now Lone's also been displaced by Jeff Kite as well. Here's Clay Skinner now. Back up on the inside. Jacques Towson this time loses the spot to Clay Skinner. Look at Josh Muggleton charging through. What a run from Muggleton in the HSV GTS, the Class A2 entry. As they make their way back around the 2 CXC Global races there, Andrews and Towson. They're trying to catch up to Clay Skinner, who's now out after Greg Symes, of course. Right, traffic getting in the way there at the moment. Jeff Kite, we're back on board with him. Gosling up on his outside, the 43. I'll lap him. He ran into drama earlier with Daniel Byron, of course. Josh Muggleton now following Jacob Andrews, or Jacques Towson. It's Towson. It looks like Jacob Andrews has gone off the road there in the background. You saw that shot from the onboard. There was a car spearing off at turn number 6, and it looked like it was the CXC Global Racer. East Towson now passed by Muggleton as well. Will Muggleton get him on the inside, or will East Towson get him back on the outside? Here's the view from Matthew Holt. Looks like East Towson will have to yield. Good move from Josh Muggleton. East Towson will try and carry the speed around, but no, Muggleton will sweep around the outside and take the position off him. Now we'll go around the Auburn as well. That's Kyle Auburn there, and now East Towson going back up at Muggleton's inside. We're on board with Josh now. Look at this. Brilliant stuff from Jack East Towson. This battle between he and Josh Muggleton is on for young and old. Past the Toyota 86s on the outside there of Bruce Colby and also David Bailey. And Muggleton in the braking zone loses out to East Towson. Great battle there. Clay Skinner now up on the inside of Greg Symes. No, we won't get him. Here's Daniel East Towson. The Mitsubishi Evo winners of race 1, or wins race 1 I should say. Look at that margin, that's huge. A good 10 seconds. 14:47.3983 back to Greg Symes, Clay Skinner. And then Jack East Towson, Josh Muggleton and Matthew Holt, the top 6. Jacob Andrews made it 3 CXC Global races inside the 10. Simmons and Lane, who had a great scrap ball race, and Vero rounded up the top 10. Jimmy Pollicino made his way forward to 11th. And we keep going down through the field. Good result for Blake Auburn there in 24th spot. His brother Kyle in 30th. Matt Shilan 27th. David Bailey just behind him. And then over the page again, Daniel Williams, Graham Heath, James Harrington, Kelly Simpson. And young Finley Hills in for 35th spot. And that was great to see. A few cars going a lap down there, but now, as you can see on the screen in front of you, race 2 is coming up. The grid will reflect the finishing order of race 1. And as you can see, we've come back to the circuit on Sunday morning, and it is dry. We're ready to go. We're on board with Jeff Kite for the start. You can see Joe Krinolos sitting just in front of him. So too Jamie Hodson. Here we go! Off the line, Kite jumped well and leapfrogs past Krinolos up on his outside. I think you'll find that was Peter Lyon in the Mitsubishi Evo. And then Clay Skinner were on board with him. Another car flying through there. That might have been Daniel Byron. They make their way around to turn 2 for the first time. It's East Towson, it's Symes. Then you go back to Skinner. Muggleton up on the outside of Jack East Towson there, and Jacob Andrews fighting through as well. Look at this. Thomas fighting through from the back of the pack. What a start from Dylan Thomas, already up past Chris Reeves. He hasn't mucked around and coming through from the back of the field, of course, after not finishing on the opening lap. Or retiring on the opening lap, I should say, of the previous race. East Towson leads them through. Symes, then Skinner, then East Towson. That's going to be very difficult to tell the cars from the sun that's shining right on our camera down there. That's a better angle as they come up to turn 6. Up the hill we go. East Towson leads Symes, then Clay Skinner. Then it's East Towson and Andrews. Muggleton holding off Holt at the moment as they go round over Corporate Hill for the first time. Dry, sunny conditions. Beautiful sunny day here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And about 19 degrees, not a cloud in the sky as we go racing here today. On board now with Paul Lane as they go through 8. 11 turns on this circuit, anti-clockwise the direction. 3.9 kilometres around Sydney Motorsport Park. Back on board with David Bailey as the rest of the field make their way through turn 8 and run up towards 9. Dylan Thomas continues to charge through the field. It's his teammate Daniel East Towson who leads the way, and quite comfortably so. Lone now being passed by Thomas. He hasn't mucked around at all. We're on board with David Bailey, who's already been gobbled up. Don't worry about that. Now Symes, Skinner, then East Towson and Andrews, then Muggleton, Holt. And then I believe the 54 of Simmons. Then it was Lane and I think Tony V. Reagan there as well. Back to this battle with Jeff Kite. You can see that Dylan Thomas was only 2 car lengths off him there a few moments ago, or 2 cars behind him I should say. Onto the main straight. Watch Thomas go down the inside. He'll fly past here. Gone. See you later. Bye-bye. Dylan Thomas continues his charge through the field. There's Josh Muggleton and Matthew Holt. So that's 5th and 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. Dylan Thomas is up to 11th spot already. Look at that. Anthony Sewell was making his way through there as well. And we go back on board with Clay Skinner now. Greg Symes sitting in front of him. Matthew Holt there as well. not too far off those cars at the front of the field. Look at that. We're picking up second, third and fourth, and Daniel Townsend's already gone. Through turn one they go. Massive field of production touring cars this weekend here for V8 Superlaps at Sydney Motorsport Park. And, oh, big moment there! Andrews in the dirt! That was Jacob Andrews flying off the circuit to the right-hand side. He's either locked it up and lost it, or he's hit the grass and speared off, or it's been a mechanical failure that speared him to the right of the circuit. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it'd be, it looks as though he's just clipped the grass as he's hit the brakes. I would suspect that if it was a mechanical failure, there would have been a lot more smoke than that. There's Paul Lane now being passed by Dylan Thomas. So Thomas will come through, he'll see his teammate sitting there on the side of the road, and he'll think, what the hell has happened? Spoke to him yesterday, he said, all 4 cars in the top 10 is not that big an ask. We can do it. We've got the cars, we've got the pace, we've got the drivers. It's a fair expectation. And he may get his wish at some point this weekend. Chris Reeves now following Blake Orban. Look at that. The Bathurst local against the defending 2-time champ. As they make their way through turn number 3. Great story, Kyle and Blake Orban this year. Great to have him part of the series. A little bit of congestion further up here as Jeff Kite comes up on some lap traffic. That is young Finley Hills being lapped there. He's had a good run so far this weekend, stayed out of trouble. And we'll be looking to finish this race and then accumulate some championship points and hopefully take the lead in Class E at the end of the weekend here at Sydney Motorsport Park. The next round, of course, down at Wakefield Park in 5 weeks' time. You expect all these cars to feature there as we go through. Daniel Townsend's already gone clear of shot. Here comes Clay Skinner up on the inside of Greg Symes. Skinner will go to second. Brilliant move up on the inside and absolutely hugging the curb there through turn 2. The run up to 3. Skinner has got up to second. Brilliant run from the young man from up in the Hunter Valley, who hasn't raced in nearly 2 years. To be right back on the pace from the word go in both wet and dry conditions this weekend. We're on board with Peter Lyon. He's following Jeff Kite. And this is a good little freight train of cars battling it out for position here. It looks like Simmons and Loyacano in there. It might be Williams actually. We'll pick that red car up as they come through. Yes, it is Nigel Williams. Anthony Sewell there as well. Now Peter Lyon up on the inside of Kite. Thank you. Bye. Through he goes, but he knows that Kite will respond. He knows he'll have his work cut out for him. As they go through 5, the run up to 6. And, of course, Lyon using all the road and a little bit more up there. Here comes Skinner. This terrific battle between he and Greg Symes continues as they come back onto the main straight. Across the line again. Look at this. What a run. Checkered flag in the air and at the ready. Daniel Townsend takes the checkered flag. He's limped home. He's only finished in the end 2 seconds clear of Clay Skinner and Greg Symes. I'm not 100% sure what's happened there. Maybe some lap traffic slowing him down on the last lap, or something that they're probably only just working out themselves at CXC Global Racing, but he has won the race nevertheless from those 2 Mitsubishi Evos of Clay Skinner and Greg Symes. Here comes Peter Lyon charging across the line as well. So let's recap those results for you. Daniel Townsend taking the win only by 2 seconds in the end, Clay Skinner. Now, Jacques Townsend has been awarded 3rd. Greg Symes given a penalty in the last stages of the race there for using too much of the road over at turn 5. Then you go back to Josh Muggleton, Matthew Holt, Dylan Thomas, then Trevor Simmons, Tony Virak and Paul Lane making up the top 10. Good battle between Hodson, Sewell, Williams and Loyacano. Then Kite, Lyon, Herberstein, Andrews, Krinolos and Richard Allen in the BMW, another one of the newcomers to the series this weekend. Outside the top 20, Blake Orban, Sam Silvestro and Chris Reeves, Fishburn, Allen, Potts, Shilan, Orban, Bailey and Colby. Then we'll go further down the field and see that Graham Heath and Daniel Byron are 31st and 32nd, then Adam Gosling, Kelly Simpson, James Harrington, Finley Hills, Daniel Williams and Kevin Herban. The finishing order there, and now we get set for the finale of the weekend. Race 3 not far away from here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Terrific racing so far this weekend. The finishing order of the second race sets the grid for the start of race number 3. We go on board with Kelly Simpson now. Look at the size of the field here. Away we go! Who's Towson jump well? So too did Skinner. Skinner went to the outside. Skinner has his nose in front. Who's going to lead him at one? Who's Towson? Will just creep up on the inside. Symes will get through there as well. Dylan Thomas has started nicely. Who's Towson just ahead of him. And now, Josh Muggleton starting from pit lane. We'll find out what's happened there because that doesn't sound right. Muggo's had a terrific weekend so far. There must have been a problem in the pre-grid area for Muggleton to explain why he would be at the back of the grid, why he'd be starting from pit lane, and another car was just behind him there as well. Chris Reeves fighting his way through. Just in front of him, Richard Allen, who has a big moment, and Sam Silvestro there as well as they make their way through for the first time, through 4 and 5. So Chris Reeves fighting with the two BMWs at the moment, but managed to get past Allen nicely after Allen went for a little bit of a tank slapper through there, up towards the top of corporate for the first time. Dylan Thomas already up at a 5th spot. You can see him there chasing down Jacques Towson. Ahead of him is Greg Symes, Clay Skinner, and your race leader Daniel Towson, who's led all the racing so far this weekend, as it hasn't really looked challenged yet. Peter Lyon, we're on board with him now as they come up to turn 8. The run through 8. Jacob Andrews, of course, finished 18th in the previous race. Now trying to make his way back forward in this deciding race. Paul Lane sits there now. Up on his inside goes Andrews. So Andrews already fighting back nicely and getting position after position. It's one of the great things about this category. You've got cars with different strengths and weaknesses, which makes for a real good mix of cars right throughout the field and a real good mix of racing. When you look at a Mitsubishi Evo, which of course is a 4-wheel drive and has all those advantages in the wet weather, when you look at a Toyota 86 that it might not be as fast in the straight line, but is terrific through corners. And then, of course, so many different other makes and models in between. Subaru, Honda, Mazda all represented this weekend. Of course, a lot of Holdens, a couple of Subarus as well. Paul Lane there now. We're on board with him as the rest of the field spill through turn 2. Watch them go through. The field still spilling out of turn 1 at the end of the first lap. A terrific field here as Josh Muggleton continues his charge back through the field. Terrific sight for anyone that might be associated with the category or might be thinking about going racing in a category that has good fields, has good racing. Well, this is a very good showcase of the category this weekend. A record field at Sydney Motorsport Park, 40 entries for the weekend. Next round, of course, down at Wakefield Park in Goulburn, the Mocom Cup open at July 1, 2 and 3. Looking forward to bringing that one to you as well. Here's Tarzan leads, then Skinner, then you go back to, I believe, Symes will be the next one through. No, Jacques Towson's pipped him, Dylan Thomas has pipped him as well. There is Symes in 5th spot. Then you go back to Simmons and Lane and Holt, the next 3 through. Vieraik there as well, on board with Matty Holt now. Down the main straight, Thomas is up to 3rd. What a charge from him. Already past Jacques Towson, now out chasing Clay Skinner, and also Daniel Towson as well. Terrific stuff here. You see the car still spilling out of turn 11. Peter Lyon there just being passed by, it looked like Jeff Kite up on his inside. And there's Blake Orban going through the front of shot as well. Chris Reeves having a run in that Toyota 86. Trying his luck at getting past one of the cars in front of him there, and he'll successfully pull that manoeuvre off. Looks like one of the Commodores. We can't exactly pick up which one. Clay Skinner, we're back with him now. Look at him all over the back of Daniel Towson. Sorry, Jacques Towson. No, it is Daniel. It is Daniel. Daniel Towson has been caught by Clay Skinner, and now Daniel Towson is in trouble. He's slowing. And there goes Clay Skinner, by him, straight gone, into the race lead. Towson tries to get the slipstream, but he's got no help. Dylan Thomas goes to second, and Towson, I think, is in trouble. Clay Skinner leads this race at Sydney Motorsport Park, and Clay Skinner, after not having raced for nearly 2 years, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, is leading a star-studded field of drivers and talent in the biggest race of the weekend, the finale. The one where most of the people have got themselves trackside to watch. Matthew Holt is sitting there in third spot. Kelly Simpson now we're on board with. And now the 29. It looks like the 29 has expired. Some mechanical issues there. And we shall have a look and see. That was, of course, Jonathan Fishburne. Now, Fishburne's had a really good run, a really good start of the year in Class S. So it's obviously come unstuck for him there. We'll follow that story if we get time. As we go back on board with Josh Muggleton, still making his way back through the field, getting past Joe Krinolos. What on earth happened to him at the start of the race there? We'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. Car going wide. But I would hazard a guess that Muggleton would not be a very happy chappy under that helmet at the moment. Back onto the main straight we'll go. Another lap complete. Richard Allen, Finley Hills there. And up on the outside is Muggleton as well. Now Muggleton chasing down Richard Allen. Here we go. Let's see where this brings him out. Sydney Motorsport Park on a Sunday afternoon. Look at the crowd on the right-hand side. It's terrific, isn't it? Josh Muggleton there will follow Richard Allen through the first corner. Oh, it's a big moment! Huge moment for Richard Allen, and he's spun. Peter Warren caught up in that as well. He's forced to use the outside of the circuit, the asphalt, the grass and the gravel to try and avoid Richard Allen, who's had a big moment there. My goodness gracious me. Richard Allen, very lucky to keep it on the track after all that, but not before losing positions and giving himself a nice little ride. Now Kelly Simpson, we're on board with her. And no, the same again! Big tank slapping moment for Kelly Simpson. Run it just a little bit wide at one and sent on a nice wild ride up towards turn 2. But in the process, as we see Daniel Towson still slowing there, and Josh Muggleton going around the outside, Simpson was actually very lucky in the sense that she was able to at least pull up and face the right direction. Once a spin had finished, she didn't have to try and turn it around. She was already facing straight ahead. Daniel Towson into the pits. What a tragedy for the young man. 2 race wins so far this weekend, was going for the treble. He won the corresponding race here last year, and it's all come undone here at Sydney Motorsport Park. So mechanical dramas. I dare say that may stem from the end of race 2 there, where we saw him slow dramatically in the closing stages. Clay Skinner continues to lead this motor race. Dylan Thomas might have a say about that right now. Thomas up on the inside going into 6th, and Thomas from the rear of the grid at the start of the day. So the race lead with only a few laps to go here in Sydney. Brilliant stuff. Dylan Thomas leads from Clay Skinner, who has given him one hell of a fight and has proven that you can take the boy away from the race car, but you can't take the racer out of the boy. Boy, oh boy, what a return to the fold for him this weekend as they come down the main straight. He's sitting there saying, focus, son, focus, you can do this. But the most experienced man in the Mitsubishi Evos of CXC Global Racing this weekend now has the race lead at the right time. Skinner can sense an opportunity here as Daniel Towson rejoins the circuit. You saw him there on the left-hand side of the shot. Now, what can Skinner do? Thomas leads them through turn 2. Only a couple of laps to go here. And we've got one hell of a battle in this finale of the weekend here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Championship points, valuable, crucial championship points are on the line, especially for Thomas, who scored a 0 yesterday in race 1. Everyone's trying to catch Daniel Towson at the moment, who led the championship coming into this event. And of course, if Daniel can get to the finish after rejoining the circuit, after only a couple of laps in the pits, that would be very, very crucial, critical to his championship campaign. Because as we all know, a championship points paying position is far better than a 0. At the crunch end of the season, where every point's going to decide the respective championship positions. And of course, we're just on board with Josh Muggleton, who just made a move on Nigel Williams to get up into 13th spot. What a fight back from the rear of the field for him. 2 wins already this weekend for CXC Global Racing. And now that Daniel Townsend's lost out, the boss has come through to complete the trifecta. Thomas wins race 3 at Sydney Motorsport Park. But by G. Clay Skinner gave him one hell of a fight. Now look at this! Look at this! Jacques Townsend and Greg Symes side by side. Symes will push him all the way to the line and get him as well. Greg Symes up in a 3rd spot at the end of the race there. Pipping Jacques Townsend at the post. They beat home Trevor Simmons, Tony Virag, then Matty Holden, Anthony Sewell. Andrews in for 9th and Jamie Hodson 10th. But the race goes to Dylan Thomas from CXC Global Racing. Terrific stuff from him. From 7th to 1st in that one, including a memorable battle with Clay Skinner. Leocardo, Lane, Muggleton, Williams and Kite make up the top 15. Blake Corbin, a terrific result in 19th. Sam Silvestro, impressive in 17th. Chris Reeves and Kyle Orban the next 2 through 21st and 22nd. Then you go back, Daniel Byron, disappointing in the, given that he had to fight from the rear of the grid today to get through only to 25th. Finley Hills in 33rd. Daniel Townsend did get through to 34th, if you don't mind, so he does pocket championship points. And that is important in the grand scheme of things as we go down to the pit lane and catch up the newest member of the paddock, the youngest member of the paddock, Finley Hills. One of the new members of the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship is just 14 years old. They're getting younger and younger by the day, making me at 25 feel rather old, actually. And it's a karting graduate, which is even better. Finley Hills is alongside me. And what triggered the step up to prod touring, my friend?
Well, we started in go-karts, and ever since we've been somehow, not sure when, but hoping to step up into something bigger like this. From a recent go-kart crash last year, we decided to make our way over to production cars, so that's what we did.
Now, first weekend, initiation, that was tough, 40 cars.
Yeah, we worked our way through the field in the rain. Those rear-wheel drive Holdens were having trouble, but we made our way through with our front-wheel drive Mazda. We qualified 33rd out of 40, which is alright. I didn't have any Class E cars, which was a bit hard, but they'll be there at Wakefield next round, so that should be good.
Certainly should be. Of course, the wet, you handled yourself absolutely beautifully. There were a couple of cars around you. You were fighting and battling for position. The dry, it just seemed to lose a bit of time here and there. Which weather condition did you prefer this weekend?
Probably the wet, because our tyres weren't up to standards. They were a bit old, but nothing you can do about that.
No. A lot of people responsible for making this happen for you?
Yeah, my dad sponsors Huckscrew helped a lot lately. They were a recent sponsor, and they've helped get the car through, which is good.
Beautiful. Well done today. Look forward to seeing you at Wakefield.
Thank you, Zach.
One of the newcomers to the New South Wales Production Touring Car Championship for V8 Superlaps in 2016 is a former modern sports car racer and a former prod sports racer in Sam Silvestro. And Sam, after the demise of modern sports cars, it's great that you found somewhere to run this beautiful BMW.
Well, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's been a great day, great weekend, great category to land in. All good.
Now, tell us a little bit about the car, because that's the reason we're here. We want to know a little bit about this BMW, because it's only brand new to you. I mean, you've only had it about 18 months.
I haven't had it too long. Mucked around with trying to run slicks. Now we're back to a groove tyre for this category, so a little bit of setup change, a little bit of work. And I'm very happy that all weekend we went forward with our setup, so that was positive. And very good racing to be able to mix it with some Commodores and some bigger cars, some smaller cars. But the M3 is a very nice package. It's a very technical car. Takes a little bit to get your head around it, but yeah, I'm getting there and I'm happy.
Yeah, no, it is certainly a very nice looking motor car, and it's a very fast one as well. 17th in the final race this weekend. As you say, wet weather yesterday probably wasn't your best friend, but you've moved your way forward as the weekend's gone on in what is pretty stiff competition.
It is very stiff competition, and the the regulars are used to the tyre, and I just need a little bit more time in the car, and I'll hopefully be a little bit more competitive with it. But as I keep saying, very happy with the result on the weekend because it is a very competitive category, and a lot of good drivers who've been in it for a while, and they're all doing well, of course.
Fantastic. Great to hear. Good to see you, mate, and good to catch up. Well done this weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Terrific to hear from Sam Silvestro and Finley Hills down there in pit lane. Also terrific to catch up with a few of the drivers at presentation. Class A 2 honours to Josh Muggleton. A terrific performance from him. Chris Reeves there on screen now, of course, picking up Class D. Great performance from this young man. Blake Orban to pick up Class C. And that man right there, Clay Skinner, picking up Class B1 honours. Race 3 winner there. Also had a chat to us, of course, in Dylan Thomas. Speaking of points, let's have a look at the state championship. We'll run through the top 10. Chris Reeves on 98, Clay Skinner on 97, Paul Lane next on 96, and then Blake Orban on 90. 89 for Daniel Istausen, 88 for Josh Muggleton and Anthony Sewell, 86 for Matthew Holt, 84 for Greg Symes and Trevor Simmons, making up the top 10 there. Thanks for your company. On behalf of all the More Driven Media team, I'm Zach Caban from Sydney Motorsport Park. We say goodbye. See you in Goulburn in a couple of weeks' time here on Production Touring TV. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, I'm Zach Caban and welcome to Production Touring TV's coverage. It's a record for the production... Yeah, let this bastard go too. 40 cars on the grid here at Wakefield. Beginning of the second championship this weekend. There are 3 that we play for. Supercars. 3 months has been the wait. It's been a long wait for some, too long for many because... Should I start from hello? And we are, of course, getting ready for... that's shit. Touring Car Championship from Sydney Motorsport Park. Perfect.